Hey guys, this is Mrs. Serrano. I wanted to make sure that you guys understood the lesson that we went over today and Tuesday about the commutative property and the associative property. So I thought I would go through another example with you guys and post this on Google Classroom. Now here are three numbers we're going to be adding. I'm not even going to mess with the word problems. We're just going to go straight down to the numbers. And I'm going to walk you through the process for why we would use commutative and associative properties and how they make things easier. So normally when we go to add these numbers, we would start by adding the 17 and the 24 first. If we did that, let's see, 17 plus 24, we'd have to go do the longhand if we didn't have a calculator. 7 plus 4, that gets us 11, so put down the 1, carry the 1. And then we have 1 plus 1 plus 2, which gives us 4. Then we'd have to add this to our remaining number, 33. So 41 plus 33. And again, if we didn't have a calculator, we would do it by hand. 1 plus 3, that would give us 4. And 4 plus 3, that would give us 7. So we would find that these three numbers would add up to be 74. But the thing is, you don't always have pen and paper around to do these things longhand, and you don't always have a calculator. I mean, you might have your phone with you, but what if the battery died? What if you're on the phone with somebody? You know, what if you crack the screen and so you can't read what it says, or it's not as sensitive to the touch anymore, so you can't type in the numbers? There will eventually be a situation where you can't do this way. You need an easier way that you can do it in your head. So I'm hoping to show you an easier way for this. Now, focusing back on the original problem, 17 plus 24 plus 33. What we want to do is we want to find a way to make adding these numbers simpler. I recommend looking for multiples of 10 and seeing if any two numbers can add to a multiple of 10. That would be like 10, 20, 30, 40. And you want that because a multiple of 10 is going to have a 0 in the ones place, and that makes it easy to add. You know, we love adding 0 to something else. That's easy addition that you can do in your head. So we want to see if there is a way for us to manipulate this expression so we can make this easier with a multiple of 10. To find out if you can make a multiple of 10 with any two numbers, we're going to look at the digit in the ones place for each number and see which two of those will give you 10. If we do 7 plus 4, it's going to give us 11, so we cannot add 17 and 24. If we added 4 and 3, that will give us 7, which is not 10. So we can't add 24 and 33. But if we add 7 and 3, that will give us 10. So we can add 17 and 33 together. So we're going to want to rearrange this equation so that we can add 17 and 33. Now I know you guys are thinking, well, we can do that right now. We don't need to rearrange the expression at all for us to do that. And that's very true, but you need to be able to prove that that is something that's actually possible in the world of math. We don't just go and do things without absolutely knowing we can do it. There's reasons for why we can do things. And that's what the commutative property and the associative property helps us do. That helps us give the reasoning for why we can do things the way we do them. So what we want is for the 17 and this 33 to be added first. But normally, if we were to add this straight up as it was, we would add that 17 and 24 together. The focus would be on these numbers. I'm putting parentheses around these two numbers because that's where our initial focus is at. these are the two numbers we would naturally start to add first, even though that's not the two numbers that we really want to add now. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip these two around so we can get that 17 next to that 33. So I'm going to write this as 24 plus 17 in parentheses, and then that plus 33. And the reason why we can switch these numbers is the commutative property. Commutative property. That says that if we add 17 and 24, that's no different from adding 24 and 17. We're going to get the same answer with addition. And so it's because of that that we're able to do this. Now, we have 17 next to 33 now, so we can add those two together. But the thing is, our focus is still just on these two numbers. Naturally, we would add the first two numbers first. But now, we know we want to add this 17 and this 33. So what we're going to do is we're just going to shift the focus down to these two numbers. And we're going to show that our focus is shifted by using parentheses. So 24 is no longer in parentheses, but 17 plus 33 is. Now for saying we are focusing on these two numbers. This is what we want to add. These two will get us that multiple of 10 that we want. And the reason why we're able to shift these parentheses down, shift our focus down to these two numbers, is the associative property. The associative property says we can add any combination of two numbers first, and it'll still get us the same sum as any other combination of two numbers first. So 24 plus 17 and then plus 33 will give us the same answer as 17 plus 33 plus 24. That's a beautiful thing about addition and about multiplication. The associative property and the commutative property allow us to make the equations more easy for us to work with. Alright, so now we have these two numbers together just like we want. So let's go ahead and add them. They're right where we need them. I'm going to carry down my 24, but 17 plus 33, that's going to give us 50. And we don't even need to list a property here. We can just say we're using addition. We're using an operation. They're next to each other. These are the ones we're focusing on. We show that with our parentheses. We're adding them now. So this becomes 50. And now that we have 24 and 50, we've got two numbers. We can't rearrange. It wouldn't make any sense to rearrange it now. So let's go ahead and add them. Now we wanted a multiple of 10 because then it was so nice to add 0 to another number. That tells, we know in our heads 4 plus 0 is going to give us 4. And we also know that 2 plus 5, that's going to give us 7. And again, we can do this using addition. We don't need any fancy properties for this. But this is something we can easily add in our heads to get 74. The entire purpose behind using these two properties is so we can make this kind of problem easier to do in our heads. Sure, right now we are writing it all on pen and paper, but this is just so we can practice manipulating these expressions and manipulating the way we add these things to make it easier in our head later on. You have to practice it like this first before you will become fluent in doing this in your head. Just like everything else. You're never good at something until you've practiced at it. Alright guys, I'm going to do another example and post it. I'm hoping that this provided some clarification on the process, or at least provided a nice model for you guys to follow when you do your homework problems. And of course, if you ever have any other questions, please email me. I would love to hear from you. Goodbye.